So this is part 2 of our series where we're breaking down the lead generation system that we teach home service businesses in Australia to use to generate leads for themselves without having to pay an expensive marketing agency. So in our first video, we broke down the lead generation system at a high level. Okay, if you need to watch that, you can go back to the first video of this series. Essentially, we broke down how we were finding high intent traffic on Google Ads. We're sending that traffic through to our landing page to turn that into phone calls or form submission inquiries. And then the last step of the process is using the Inspire app to turn that into a sale, those inquiries into sales by either us calling them or setting up some automations using the Inspire app. In this video, we're going to run through step number 1 of our 3-step process that you can follow, which is all about determining who your target market is. Before you build your page and run any ads, we need some goalposts to aim at. We need to determine what we are selling, where we sell it, and who exactly we are selling to. Okay, we need to determine who your target market is by answering those 3 questions to progress through and execute this system. So the first question that we need to answer is, what niche service will you offer? Okay, and to help answer this question and decide for yourself, we want to be trying to target a more focused and more niche service rather than a broad service. So what this means is, instead of, say, gardening services, which is quite broad, we want to be focusing in on a niche service within gardening. Say, for example, tree pruning or hedge trimming or lawn mowing. The reason we want to do this is we can set up a more focused landing page that sets you up and markets you as a specialist at that niche service in your area. And the other reason for it is we actually going to have less competition for the keywords that we set up for tree pruning or whatever it is that you decide to go with. So another consideration when you're determining what your niche services that you want to offer is considering your local competition. So have a little bit of a think about who's in your local area, what services are they offering. Is there a gap in your current market that you can't seem to find, say, a certain type of service in your area? And this is all going to just give you that little bit of an edge when it comes to running ads. So one tool that you can actually use online is called the Google Ads Transparency tool. So if you can actually look up certain keywords or certain services in your local area to see if there's other businesses running ads for that exact service. So it's called the Ads Transparency Center. I won't go into it in too much detail in this video, but this is a tool that you can use to find people running ads for certain keywords in your area. So if you want to do some research in your local area, you can set your location, you can type in the keywords, and you can see what Google ads are being run in your exact area. So that's a very handy tool when considering your local competition. The last but really important thing to consider when you're looking at what services you're going to offer is thinking about what is your unfair advantage. Okay, what skills do you have that maybe your competition don't have that's going to set you apart? Okay, do you have a network? Do you know people that give you an unfair advantage? For example, you might want to offer mulching services, and you might have a friend or someone that you know in your network that actually has a mulching supply company down the road. Okay, so that's going to allow you to get mulch in for a lower price, and you can do things for a better price and beat your competition. That's an example of how your network can give you an unfair advantage. And lastly, it's just your experience, right? So you might have an experience in a certain niche that's going to give you an unfair advantage. What you want out of this, the output, is deciding on between 1 and 3 niche services. So between 1 and 3 services on any one landing page, okay? The reason we want this is because we want the landing page to be very focused. We don't want it too broad. We don't want 10 different services shown on there. If you have more than 3 services, which is very common for a lot of home service businesses, I would recommend separating them into different landing pages. So between 1 and 3 relevant services on one page. And if you want to set up another one, it's very easy using the Inspire app, which I'll show you as part of this process, to duplicate the page and just set it up using the similar structure, but for different services. Question number 2 is, where will you offer your services? The postcodes and the area. Okay, so how far do you wish to travel to offer your services? All right, so this could just be a simple radius of 20 kilometers from your home or where your business is located. The reason we need to pick an area as well is that we're going to use this to market on your landing page. Over here, you'll see we've actually highlighted the area that you're running your ads and you're offering the service. Okay, this, for example, is in Mount Barker, South Australia. Now, people will resonate with the areas that they know. Okay, so if you're running ads in Mount Barker, South Australia, someone in that area sees that you offer that service on your landing page in Mount Barker, they're going to go, right, these guys or girls are the right people for me to go with. And lastly, Google Ads will only be shown in the postcodes that we set. So when we jump in and do the Google Ads setup later on in the process, you can see here that we can actually target our ads to only be shown in certain areas. So our ads will only be shown in those areas on Google Ads. So the theory with our area targeting is that I like to have one landing page per city and one Google ad campaign per city. So to simplify things, most of you will just be running your ads in one city and one area. You can just have one page. I do work with other businesses that are a little bit bigger, a little bit more established, and they might have multiple locations. So I would recommend you have a part of your business in Brisbane, you have a Brisbane landing page. If you have, another one in another location like Sydney, you would have a separate landing page. Okay, you would have one for, say, Brisbane, one for Mount Barker, one for Sydney. Hopefully you get what I mean here. And lastly, we need to answer, who are you selling to? All right, so you need to think about your ideal customer. Who is your ideal customer that you are selling your services to? So different types of customers are, for example, homeowners, business owners, commercial property owners, okay, property management companies. So the reason we need to segment who it is that you're selling to is that different buyers value different things. Your messaging on the landing page is going to need to vary depending on the buyer type, okay? The other thing is that different buyers will use different keywords in Google search to find your services. Different buyers valuing different things. A good example of this is, say, homeowners, for example. They value things like speed, okay, and maybe they're a little bit more price sensitive. So they want the job, say, done quickly. They want it done at a lower price. So say, for example, a commercial property owner, they might be less worried about price and value the quality of the work. They also might value that you have capacity to complete the work, so you have a big enough team to come out and actually service them regularly. And they also might value that you're reliable, right? They might be running a business, or they might, need their gardens or lawns, looking spick and span to actually bring business through the door. So they need you to be reliable. So they value different things to homeowners. And the difference in who you sell to is going to dictate your messaging on the page and what sort of images you put on the page, what sort of reviews. Okay, so homeowners will want to see reviews from other homeowners in their area. Business owners will want to see other reviews and testimonials from other business owners. And the same goes for any other type of buyer out there. And as a general rule of thumb, you want to have one landing page per type of buyer. So if you can try to get your pages focused in on either towards homeowners, business owners, commercial property owners, try to have one page per buyer type. So that wraps up this section, which is all about your strategy. In summary, what you need to be able to have when you walk away from this is what niche services you're going to offer, where you'll be offering those services, okay, the postcode, the actual physical area, and then who exactly is you're selling your service to. So what type of buyer are you targeting? And if you can answer those three things, then you've been able to develop who your target market is, and we're going to be able to take that information and then build our landing page, which is the next step in the process.